You ever get the feeling that personal finance is, like, intentionally complicated? Well, you might be onto something. Today, we are going to break down J.L. Collins' The Simple Path to Wealth, a book that lays out a shockingly simple, no BS roadmap to financial freedom. So let's see what this path really looks like. This quote from Collins' own daughter just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? We all know money is a big deal, but the thought of spending our entire lives obsessing over it, it just sounds exhausting. So this explainer, it's for anyone who wants to be financially secure without the constant headache. So why does it all feel so ridiculously hard? Collins has a simple theory. It's designed that way. The whole financial world often feels like a giant, confusing maze because, well, a confusing maze is really profitable for the people selling you the maps. And right there, that's the first huge idea you need to grasp. Complexity is not your friend. Collins basically argues that all those fancy, complicated financial products, they really only exist to make the people selling them rich, not you. They cost you more in fees, and, get this, they usually don't even work as well. Simplicity, he says, is the key. Okay, so if we're ditching all that complexity, what's the simple goal we're aiming for? Well, it's not about being rich in that traditional fancy car kind of way. Nope. It's about getting something way, way more valuable. Something Collins very bluntly calls FU money. So what on earth does that actually mean? It's the point where your money buys you the one thing you can't put a price on, freedom. It's the power to walk away from a job you can't stand, to go chase a passion project, or to just stop worrying. It's about owning your own time. Collins tells this great story from early in his career. He wanted to take more vacation time to travel, but his boss flat out said no. So what did he do? He resigned. And suddenly, his boss was all ears, ready to negotiate. He didn't have millions in the bank, but he had enough to walk away. That is what this concept looks like in the real world. But there's always a catch, right? There is a huge dragon guarding that freedom. And that dragon's name is debt. Collins is absolutely brutal on this topic. He doesn't see debt as some useful tool. He sees it as the single biggest monster standing between you and a life of your own choosing. And make no mistake, this dragon is enormous. In the US alone, consumer debt is in the trillions. It has become so totally normal in our culture that a lot of us don't even see the financial chains we're carrying around every single day. And this is Collins' really stark warning. Having a high income and a nice house doesn't mean a thing if it's all built on a mountain of debt. You're not free. You're just what he calls a gilded slave, a slave to that paycheck, to that job, and to those minimum monthly payments. Okay, so how do you actually slay this dragon? Well, you start by picking your targets. Collins gives us a dead simple rule of thumb. Is your interest rate over 5%? That's not a problem. That's a 5-alarm fire burning your financial house down. You have to attack it with everything you've got. If it's a bit lower, okay, you have some more options. And the battle plan is just as straightforward. No fancy tricks, no secret formulas. You list out all your enemies, you cut off their supply lines by slashing your spending, and then you focus every spare dollar, all your firepower, on the biggest, baddest threat first, the one with the highest interest rate. All right, once that debt dragon is slain, you get to unleash the most powerful wealth-building tool humanity has ever invented. And again, the key here is to stop seeing the stock market as this scary, complicated casino. It's not. It's just a simple, powerful engine for growth. I mean, this chart kind of says it all, right? Yeah, it's what Collins calls a wild and rocky ride. You can see these huge drops, these moments of panic and full-blown crashes. But just zoom out. Look at the one undeniable trend over more than 100 years. It goes up, relentlessly. So why? Why does it always go up in the long run? It really just comes down to simple math. When you buy a stock, the absolute worst that can happen is it goes to zero. You lose 100%. That's it. But the upside, the best companies, there is literally no limit to how high they can go. And that unlimited upside gives the whole market a powerful upward pull. So how do you get a piece of that action without having to be a stock-picking genius? Simple. You don't even try. You just buy them all. A low-cost total market index fund lets you own a tiny sliver of thousands of companies. And the best part? It's self-cleansing. As the bad companies fail and disappear, new, innovative ones automatically take their place. You don't have to do a thing. Okay, so the path seems simple enough. Stay out of debt, buy the whole market, wait. But if it's really that easy, why isn't everyone wealthy? Well, because the final boss in this game isn't the market, it's the person staring back at you in the mirror. And this brings us to what is probably the most important question in this entire explainer. Given everything we've just seen, that the market has a built-in upward bias, how is it even possible that most individual investors actually lose money or get terrible returns? The answer is brutally, painfully simple. We panic. When that wild ride suddenly takes a terrifying nosedive, every survival instinct in our body screams, "Get out." So we buy high when everyone's greedy and euphoric, and we sell low when everyone's terrified. It is the perfect recipe for losing money. And this is Collins's most famous, most blunt, and honestly, most important piece of advice. The real key to building wealth isn't about being smarter than everybody else. It is about having the guts, the mental fortitude to just do nothing when everyone around you is completely losing their minds. It's about being tough enough to stay the course. And this right here is why you can be tough. Because market crashes are not a surprise. They are a normal, predictable, and recurring part of the journey. They aren't a bug. They're a feature of the system. And you can bet your bottom dollar that the next one is always just around the corner. You should expect it. So let's just boil this all down. The simple path is exactly that. Simple. Treat any high-interest debt like your house is on fire. Spend less than you earn. Invest the rest. Make your goal freedom, not just stuff. Buy the whole market with one cheap index fund. And when, not if, the storm hits, you just toughen up and ride it out. And we'll end on this final, really powerful question. This one little shift in how you see money, it changes everything. What if you saw every dollar not as something to spend, but as a little employee you can send out into the world to work for you 24/7? When you make that mental switch, your entire financial world changes forever. And that is the simple path to wealth.